Hello once again, race fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour. As always, I'm Alex Gray, along here with Michael Klein, and we got a guest in here with us today. It's Mr. Chris Hacker. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Most definitely. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Oh, man. So, we're in the midst of the Atlanta race weekend, Atlanta's second trip to Atlanta, which, of course, jokingly, Michael and I are probably a little salty over because this ended up replacing Kentucky. But anyhow, we got those races coming up. Xfinity should be starting here actually in just a little bit. And then, of course...
Yeah, actually, major breaking news here for the Xfinity race.
Yeah.
So we were just talking before this. Michael Annett status for today's race is up in the air. And the first post here says Ryan Pemberton has spoken to Josh Berry, but since he's committed to Jordan Anderson, Ryan Pemberton just asked B.J. McLeod if he wants to drive the one car.
Oh, my, wow. That would be interesting because, yeah, they just said that Annett is out today's race. Oh,
yeah, apparently it's a leg injury. That's what they're reporting.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah,
do they know what
last
from?
night,
I have no idea. I mean, that would have had to have been something that happened in the garage area, I would assume. I mean, unless he got into a wreck maybe Thursday, but I don't remember anything like that happening. Yeah,
because last night, like, literally probably like an hour and a half before everything started, Young's Motorsports called in Chris Windham to take the truck that Annett was supposed to drive. And I think Annett did practice in the truck earlier that day, or the day before. So, yeah, interesting developments taking place in Atlanta. How about B.J. McLeod if he gets a chance to drive for Junior? How cool would that be?
Man, if that's the case, that's who I'm going for the win.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, they just tweeted that Michael Annett has a leg injury and why he is out for today's Xfinity race and out for last night's race at Knoxville.
Yeah, that most definitely had to happen in the garage last night or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, which that's not too crazy to think because, there's a lot that goes on there. I mean, Chris, I'm sure you know it, and I know it from having worked in the garage. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on back there that anything could happen there that could cause any sort of injury there.
Mm-hmm. So we do hope Michael Annett does feel better. Obviously, that's never a good thing to see. Hopefully assuming that maybe they'll give him a playoff waiver in the Xfinity Series as well. So while we prep for the Xfinity race, we have to talk about last night and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race at Knoxville because it got chaotic in an instant, especially in the third stage.
Yeah, I guarantee you Tony Stewart was just sitting there laughing his ass off at that.
Yeah. Not to mention, drivers were pretty vocal about it, and we're very displeased. Stuart Friesen.
He got spun out twice on the cool-down lap, I think.
What's that?
I think he got spun out like twice on the pace lap, or the cool-down lap.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so. And the other thing I wanted to bring up as well, geez, I'm having a brain fart, but, Sheldon Creed. What he said was pretty interesting. He went on to talk about, I love racing on dirt, but, going on the case of we didn't have this issue at Eldora. Everyone's just kind of fighting on the inside. No one had respect for one another. And then he ended it off with saying the truck series should be at Iowa Speedway right now. And then he kind of took a shot at NASCAR a little bit with the Atlanta news as well. He's like, but, that's not what NASCAR wants because they're going to ruin Atlanta too. So I was like, woo, man. So, of course, Atlanta announced earlier this week the new repave long-awaited repave probably in a reconfiguration. They're going to add bankings they're going to go up to 20 degrees of banking in the turns. They're going to narrow the track area and essentially create almost like a mini Daytona in some way with pack racing. So, yeah, I'm a little skeptical. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm just a little skeptical on it.
Yeah, definitely a little bit skeptical just with the narrow track and the increased bank. Obviously the repave needed to happen. I mean, as much as drivers want to fight that, it had to happen at some point. My concern is just with the new aero package and with the way they're making the track is that it's just going to create, the single file train racing.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like what we were seeing at Michigan. Oh, good.
I was going to say I agree with that. What he was saying there about the single file racing. It's hard to find multiple grooves nowadays with the low horsepower, high downforce package that they're running at some of these tracks and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Speedway Motorsports, I feel like lately not been having a good track record, no pun intended, with, recent reconfigurations. Obviously there was that time they, toyed around with Bristol. People hated it. Texas, obviously we know that whole story. And then Kentucky, which is no longer on the schedule. Both those tracks got repaved. And they were like, hey, let's put this traction compound down. And, it's just, I think it's really hurt those tracks. And that's where I'm worried about Atlanta. So, because people like Atlanta and the way it is, but, people even were like, hey, it's cool that Kentucky was the roughest surface in racing, but eventually, you don't want to have that one Charlotte race where there were like 25 cautions because everyone kept blowing the tire. You don't want to have that kind of issue. So.
Yeah, thankfully I was able to watch the Nashville race from the pits and everything, and Nashville was a great race. There was a lot of multiple lines people could run, and they were kind of having to chase the cars on the exit because they'd break loose a little bit. So whatever they did at Nashville, I think they need to start doing on a lot of other tracks because it definitely added a lot of interesting moves during the race.
Oh, certainly. I thought Nashville turned out pretty well despite some, teams having issues with the brake rotors and the tires and everything else. But still, it was a great race. I agree on that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see that from the stands. It was definitely nice seeing, drivers having to actually drive the car, Because, that's not something we've gotten to see on a mile and a half in a while.
Most definitely.
All right, let's see here. Mike have an update.
Getting several different stories here. Bob Pockris has just posted, Austin Dillon has told me he will be driving the one car, but B.J. McLeod Motorsports just posted B.J. McLeod is getting fitted to drive the one car.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was about to say, I saw the tweet pulled up right when you said it.
Yeah, and apparently Jordan Anderson's also stepped into it. So.
Huh. Okay. Nothing against Dillon, but I would love to see a guy like Jordan or BJ get in Dale Jr. equipment.
Oh, for sure.
So, while countdown continues for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, I think we should also turn our attention to our guest, Chris Hacker. Chris, you want to tell us a little bit more about your racing background, a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so a short summary of it. I started in quarter midgets when I was 8 years old. I only competed in that for about a year, and then I moved up to the INX Bandolero Series at the age of 9. Ran that for about 2 years, and then I moved up to the Legend cars that I actually raced with Michael and down at Kentucky and at the age of 12. And around that age, I kind of realized that I wanted to make racing more of a career instead of a hobby. So, you know, I kind of talked to my parents about it back then and stuff, and we realized that the best route to take was to kind of move me up the ranks as quickly as possible. You know, the younger you are in the motorsports industry, the better. So we looked into running late models at the age of 13, and they have a lot of like 13 and 14-year-olds driving now in the limited late model series. But back then, they didn't really have people that age. So we actually had to write a letter to the director of CRA, which is Champion Racing Association. That's the late model series that runs out here. And we pretty much had to say, you know, like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why we think I should be able to compete. And thankfully he accepted it. So I started running late models at the age of 13, got a couple wins under my belt. And at that time, my parents were funding me financially and stuff like that. So I raced late models for about 3.5 years. And around the age of 16 to 17, I had to sadly get out of the seat just because they just couldn't support it anymore, money wise. They were getting really low on the funds and stuff. So you know, I got out of the seat and I started you know, working in the pits more often. Scott Neal, he was the one that would kind of help us set up the car when I was racing, and then once I got out of the seat, he allowed me to work for him and stuff, which I honestly think was a great move to do, because you know, there's a difference between a good driver and a great driver, and a great driver can understand what the car is doing and how to adjust it. So having those couple years working in the pits helped me a lot on understanding what adjustments to make to the car when it's doing specific things. I graduated high school, and so I went to University of Northwestern Ohio for my high-performance engineering degree. I don't know about you guys, but school was never my thing, and college just backed up that statement there. So I ended up dropping out, and I knew that, you know, racing is something I still wanted to be involved in. So along with those years of being out of the seat, I did a lot of jobs. I worked a lot. I'd buy, you know, a wrecked car for $500 and resell it for maybe like $2,500 to $3,000, just trying to make my money up. And so I was able to get enough money round up to support me in those 2 ARCA races that I competed in, and then a truck race that I plan on doing sometime soon. And so yeah, I got back in the seat at the end of 2019, and I ran the Nashville crate late model race, and then I ran it was a Snowflake 100 at the end of 2020, I believe it was, or at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And so we were trying to figure out when my next ARCA race would be, and then COVID kind of hit, and so that put a big toll on stuff. So we were able to make my ARCA debut at Phoenix at the end of 2020, and then I planned on running the Daytona race at the beginning of this year, but to run the super speedways, you have to do a mandatory test session, pretty much just to prove that, you know, you're not going to be a danger on the track. And so we went down to Charlotte to get the seat fitted and started feeling uneasy and stuff like that. And, you know, like I said, COVID was still going on and stuff. So I ended up getting a COVID test, and the rapid test came back negative, but they said they were going to do the more long-term one that actually, like, gets sent out to the lab and stuff. So they did that and ended up coming back positive. So that pretty much opted me out of the Daytona race. And we pretty much rescheduled it for the Charlotte race that was at the beginning of May, I believe, or at the end of May, beginning of June. And I was able to finish 10th there, which was pretty exciting. And so now we're just working out the process of making my truck debut.
Yeah, man, you said you went to Northwestern Ohio?
Yeah, I went there for about, I want to say it was like 4 sessions. Each session lasts 6 weeks, correct?
Yeah, I lasted 3.
yeah. Who did you?
Yeah, I
did
actually
you
stayed
take
there.
SNS?
I just switched over to the sports marketing program.
Oh, okay. Did you have SNS while you were in the hypo?
No, I took welding and fab.
Okay. Who's your welding teacher?
I think it was Mr. McPherson.
Oh, okay, that wasn't mine. I forget his name. But yeah, he was kind of like
Was
a
it
hefty
Pullman?
dude. It might have been. He was probably like in his like early 40s, I would say. Kind of heftier, really really short dark hair.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like Pullman. Yeah, he was my fab teacher.
Yeah, that was my favorite class there. And then I took SNS, steering and suspension, and I had Mr. Tucker, and he was really really strict. You couldn't have your phone out, stuff like that. Which I mean, it's understandable, but he would definitely there was no warnings with him. Did you stay on campus at all?
Yeah, I did for like the first couple months, and then I moved off campus.
Which dorms did you stay in?
Oh my God, I don't remember.
Was it like a 2-story one, or was it the 1-story?
Yeah, it was a 2-story one.
The 2-story one?
It's the one that's like no, not right next to it. Damn, I literally don't remember what it was called.
Were there let's see, it'd be 1, 2, 3. Were there 5 other roomies with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 rooms, 1 bathroom, 6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I stayed into, and I was like, you know what, I'm not liking this, so I ended up moving off campus too.
Yeah, I went to this one place. It was like called the Lima Student Living Center, something like that.
Mhm.
It was actually located on like an old arcade fun park. In fact, actually the old go-kart track was still right out there when I moved in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was the hangout spot called that was like right across the street from the entrance of the school?
Oh, I think it was a racer station.
No, it wasn't a part of UNO. It was like just a little hangout spot that everybody would go to on the weekends. It was right.
Oh, do you mean Harry's?
Yes, Harry's. Yep. Did you ever go to Harry's?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd be playing cornhole out there probably every weekend.
Yeah, we did a lot of pond there.
Oh yeah.
It definitely sounds like fun. Obviously, me, different background. I've got an electronic media and broadcasting degree at Northern Kentucky University. So I was a little bit south of you guys. Graduated there just about a couple years ago.
Well, sweet.
Yeah. You know what? I think it was Northwestern Park. I think that's what it was called.
Northwestern Park?
I think that's what it was called.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, Alex, I don't think you were missing much there. There wasn't a whole lot to do up in Lima.
Oh yeah, there was nothing. The only thing that you really could do is just go walk outside, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I couldn't stand 1 second living there.
Let's see. Speaking of UNOH, I don't know if they did this after you guys were there, but their baseball field, because I didn't realize this until like earlier this week. Their baseball field, they colored it like you would one of those football fields, like in Boise State. Well, in this case, they colored it the maroon red and I guess like that tannish gold they have in the infield. And the rest of it, the outfield was still like grass.
Yep, they did. I remember that.
When did they do that?
Yeah, I'm looking at.
I mean, I think it was like that when I went there.
I don't recall it being like that, but then again, I never really really went to the baseball field at all. I kind of really just kept to myself when I was out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of did just because we would often go there as a class if there was a game. See, like I said, I was in the sports marketing program, so.
Oh, yeah, understandable then.
Yeah, because I didn't realize because I knew about the colored football fields, but I didn't know about colored baseball fields. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I have to ask Michael that next time. So I was just curious about that. So that is, I've never seen anything like that. That is very unique, I would have to say. But yeah, so that's a little fun discussion about that I wanted to bring up since we were talking about UNOH. I can indeed confirm from Bob Pockers' tweet, Austin Dillon will be driving the number 1 for Michael Annette. They were getting him situated in the car. Race day hasn't brought it up, but obviously everybody pretty much knows about it. Jordan Anderson BJ and Jordan were fitting in the car, but I guess from what I have to guess here, Austin Dillon probably fit Annette's seat because obviously, this is a last-second change. So that's probably what the case is here.
Yeah, that's definitely most likely. I mean, I don't think B.J. McLeod would fit in that seat.
Mm-hmm. So, would have been
cool. It was still nice to hope so.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully Michael Annette does feel better from that apparent leg injury. And, again, Austin Dillon will be taking the green flag in just a little bit here at Atlanta. Got Rick Allen, and, of course, it looks like they're now talking about it now. Junior's up there in the booth. So driving the, I believe, the Spicy Chicken Pilot Flying J Chevrolet. So speaking of which.
Fastest chicken in the South.
Absolutely.
I wonder how many of our listeners will get that.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'd like to see people comment later and be like, oh, I get it. But who do you guys have winning this race? Obviously, Kyle Busch is in it, so he has to be a favorite.
Definitely would be cool to see Kyle Busch win his final race. Just if I'm being honest. I definitely feel like Noah Gregson's about due for a win here soon, though. And he's definitely who I originally had, so I'm going to go with him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm almost certain that Kyle's going to win it tonight, but I would like to see Daniel Hemrick win it.
Yes, please.
Yeah. The man needs to win. But, yeah, I would have to go with Kyle Busch. I usually do a pick 4 on Twitter. I'd have to go with Kyle Busch. If not, obviously, Daniel Hemrick would be a good choice. A.J. Allmendinger, he's won there before. And another guy, obviously, that was just brought up, Noah Gragson. He's definitely due for a win, as they actually painted the walls green at Atlanta for the Quaker State 400.
Baker State 400?
Yeah. Baker State 400, yeah. I'm sorry, it looks weird. I want to make that joke where it's like, Mom, can we have the Quaker State 400? No, honey, we have the Quaker State 400 at home. Quaker State 400 at home.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And then yesterday, July 9th, marked the 10-year anniversary of the first ever Cup race at Kentucky Speedway and Traffic Gate. That happened that evening.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, I was talking to my dad last night about that whole thing, and both of us kind of realized, we got insanely lucky because we were able to get to our seats right when the command to fire the engines happened. So we got really lucky. I mean, we left at 12:30, and we got there right before the green flag dropped. It was yikes.
Michael, when you ran at Kentucky, would you go up on the banking on the front stretch?
I didn't actually ever race there. We were planning on it. We went.
A lot.
Yeah, we went there, and we had planned on starting there at like 2014, I think. And then they ended the program.
I see. Yeah, I remember when I was running Legends back then, there was always controversy on whether you should go up on the banking or not, just because it was such a hard transition going up onto it and then coming back onto it. People didn't know if it would upset the chassis too much or what, but
I probably would have.
Yeah, after about half the season, everybody started doing it, and it worked out. You just had to kind of like hold on a little bit more going into turn 3.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, the fun thing is I may actually finally get a chance to run Legends later this year, which that would be pretty crazy, just knowing we were trying to get into it like 10 years ago, and I would just now be starting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking to a team down in Charlotte, so hopefully we can work something out for that, maybe for the last summer shootout race or even the winter series.
Okay. Well, that's certainly good news to hear. On my end, I have recently began writing race recaps for a site called the National Racing Network, and writing up some news as well. So I'll be typing up race recaps. I did one, stayed up late last night, getting the truck series thing figured out. I didn't get much sleep. Usually I like taking a small nap before work. Didn't really get much of it just because I had to get everything together, because that truck race had like 4 overtime green-white checkers, and oh man, and they're like, come on.
Yeah, last night was pretty crazy, honestly.
It was Insanity in Iowa was the title that I put in there.
Yeah, I think the issue with that track is, it's not like Eldora. You don't have this high bank. It's not quite as wide. Yeah. And, of course, if it's flatter, it's going to be harder to get that top to work. So because of that, you had single-car racing, because that bottom groove, the only one that would work, I think we all saw it. You got to the outside, you were going to get railroaded.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the only way you're going to get by anybody is if you move them. And driver's mentality, it's you do what you got to do to get to the front.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they were just absolutely all over each other, beating the crap out of each other, because they were just trying to find any way they could to move up to the field.
Yeah, and it's like, I have no problem with bumping someone out of the way, doing a little bump and run. There were definitely some guys there who I felt like were pushing it. I'm not going to say names, but definitely saw a couple guys just flat out run over anyone in their path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a lot of people, I don't know if it was due to the spotters or just the driver not caring, but a lot of people, their bumper would definitely be at their left rear tire, and they'd still just come down and cut them off and stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because if they get under you, you're a sitting duck.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and the other controversy that kind of took place last night involved Ben Rhodes when he had some sort of part just absolutely stick out on the front of his truck like it was from Mad Max. And they didn't black flag him or anything during the caution. And then when the green flag dropped on the restart, that's when NASCAR black flagged him, and his crew was very, very infuriated at what happened there. Rich Lucius, his crew chief, as well as Tracy Hines, who works over there at ThorSport, they were just absolutely letting the NASCAR officials have it last night. And ironically, I tweeted out, Rich Lucius was not happy, and honestly, I don't blame him. He ended up liking that tweet for me, and I was like, oh, hey. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him either. I'm not sure why NASCAR didn't make the call during caution. They said that they discussed it during caution, but they never made the final call until once the green flag dropped. So that kind of put Rhodes in a bad situation there.
Yeah, and just think, if he just stayed out like another 30 seconds, then he would have been able to do it under yellow.
Yeah.
Unless they gave him the black flag with the white stripe, which, that means they're not scoring you anymore.
Yeah.
But, he made a pretty good comeback, He came up to, 12th? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of cautions to get the lucky dog lap for sure.
Also, definitely surprised to see Austin Hill get that win. I mean, no disrespect to him, but, you don't usually look at him as one of the dirt winners.
Yeah, he was definitely the one to come out on top. Guys like the front runners there were Chandler Smith, Carson Hocevar, which he's been on a tear lately, and Todd Gilliland. That was another one. Really bummed for the likes of guys like Donnie Schatz and Parker Price Miller, they looked like they were putting together some decent runs, and obviously they were caught up in those big ones there near the end of the race.
Yeah, and I just noticed Ben actually got 7th.
Okay, Ben got 7th.
So we got 7th?
Yeah. And Brian Brown got 8th for all he went through last night.
Yeah, Tate Fogelman 9th, Danny Vaughn 10th. We saw that infamous tweet from On Point Motorsports where Vaughn's truck was absolutely torn up, just tweeting, "This is a top 10 truck." So
yeah,
I got it pulled up. Top 10 was Hill, then Smith, Enfinger, Gilliland, Kraus. He was a front runner too. Swept both the stages. Crafton, Rhodes, Brown, Fogelman, Vaughn, and then John Hart Nemechek finishing in 11th.
There were a lot of people tweeting about Derek, but I didn't see too much about him during the race. Do you guys know what that was about?
I mean, I did see him just completely run over Jessica Friesen, but that's honestly about it.
Okay. I did see that one of them just completely spun him on the cooldown lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Enfinger did it, and then Ankrum did it.
Yeah, Enfinger and Ankrum.
Yeah, he definitely didn't make a lot of friends last night, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you're racing in NASCAR Thunder 2004, and then suddenly, you're beating and banging with guys, and you have a negative 60 rival with a driver or two, and you're like, oh, man.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, was there anything left you guys wanted to talk about or discuss at all?
Who did you guys pick?
Yeah, first off, I do. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just asking who your guys' pick for the Cup race was.
It's kind of hard to go against Larson right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to go with my pick 4. I'd have to go with Larson, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, just because, starting on the pole, it's his home track. It would be a pretty big deal if Chase Elliott were to win at Atlanta in the last race of this current configuration that has been around as long as I think we have. And then for my last pick, I think I'll go with Denny Hamlin because he's yet to score a win this season as well.
Yeah, my top 2 were definitely going to be Larson or Chase.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Denny Hamlin, obviously that music video came out featuring he and Bubba Wallace, that Post Malone music video. Did you guys see that, and what were your thoughts on it?
I did see it. As far as the music video, I'm glad that there's a lot of artists that are coming into the NASCAR realm trying to give NASCAR exposure. There was another artist who did that. I can't think of his name, though, off the top of my head. I don't know if y'all saw that either. But that's like two of them in the past, couple months.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I got to check it out. It was a pretty cool music video. I'm a pretty big Post Malone fan, so that was definitely really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good for the sport. I think it's great that, hopefully it can attract some new fans and seeing, those popular artists come out and, do something with NASCAR. It's pretty fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back when, pop culture was embracing NASCAR, and it looks like we're starting to kind of see that again.
Yeah. Was there something else that you wanted to bring up, by the way, Michael?
Yeah. Just because I don't think we've done a podcast since my last race. I do just want to thank the Shokuskis for giving me the opportunity to get back behind the wheel. Kind of sucks we didn't get to do all we wanted to, but, stuff happens with the car, and, they just end up having to take care of it and try to get it back to where it needs to be. Definitely want to thank them for that chance to run at Lucas Oil. That was definitely an experience I will never forget, especially having Jeff Gordon in attendance.
Yeah, you got to shake his hand.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Jeff was always my idol growing up, and I met him back when I was either 13 or 14, and he was definitely a great dude. He made it pretty certain that he wanted to talk to the fans instead of making it where it was more of a necessity to do it. He acted like he wanted to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not to mention.
Yeah, we got to.
Not to mention earlier. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got to talk to him a little bit that race too. He definitely seemed like a really cool dude. Team talked with him a little bit. Just getting the chance to go up on that driver intro stage and shake his hand was the moment of my career I'll never forget.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and also just getting to race at Lucas Oil, that was pretty incredible too, especially in a midget, which is so historic there.
Did you by chance go to the SRX race that was there?
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be racing in that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was supposed to be running the midget, but we had issues with the motor from this last race that we were talking about, and we weren't able to get it ready for that.
Oh, understandable.
Yeah, but the SRX race was a very, very fun show. I really enjoyed it. It was really cool, especially we got there early when they had a Q&A with all the drivers, and man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to listen to those guys.
Yeah, they definitely had a rough ending there at the end. There was a lot of beating and banging.
I think Scott Speed and Elio Castroneves had some beef at the end of the race as well.
Yeah, I was watching that. I was waiting to see some helmets thrown or something.
Yeah. Well, pace laps are underway in Atlanta, and they'll be dropping the green flag in just a few moments there. But yeah, I got to tag along with Michael for his event at IRP for Thursday Night Thunder, and that was a lot of fun. Just kind of helping out any way I could, which was pretty awesome. And
yeah, thanks for the photos too, man. You definitely gave us a lot of stuff that we could use.
Yeah, I'm glad that I could do that and just do what I can to help. Obviously, and again, it was cool to see Jeff Gordon there. And earlier that morning, he got to hop behind a USAC midget for the first time in like 30 years, which was pretty cool.
Michael, do you plan on running that Lucas Oil anytime soon again?
We're working on a deal to possibly run the Hoosier Classic next month. We're still working on that, trying to get the funding that we need.
Understandable. If you are running out here in the Indiana area, let me know. I'd love to come hang out and see the open wheel side of racing. Last time I've done anything open wheel was quarter midgets, and so anything after that was more stock car body style of a racing. So yeah, if
absolutely,
you're
man.
To allow me to come hang out, I'd love to.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're looking at possibly running the Hoosier Classic next month, and also we're working our damnedest to get back to the BC 39, which that's held turn 3 at the IMS. I got to run that a couple of years ago. That was an incredible experience. Right now, we're still working extremely hard on getting that. I've got several options to run it, so we'll definitely see what comes about and what we can do.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. So besides that, okay, I just got this tweet from Bob Pockers. Austin Dillon, what's my crew chief and spotter's name today?
It'd be like
that is actually good to know. You know, you like to know who you're talking to.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Team was told, or at least it was relayed to him that Pockers said by Annette that he felt he should be ready to go. They certainly would have had someone earlier if they thought they were going to need someone. So this was kind of like an absolute last-second decision. So that's probably why McLeod or Anderson couldn't hop in the car, was just simply because Austin Dillon probably fit the seat a lot better than they did.
Yeah,
Dillon will pit coming to one to go before the green, so the one crew can figure out how to turn on his cool suit.
Oh.
That's the new one.
Whoops. It's going to be interesting to see how Austin Dillon takes care of this ordeal, since this has been a last-second change. So he's definitely going to be one to watch in the race. Besides that, there's anything left that you guys wanted to talk about real quick, or?
I think that's about it, man.
All righty. Well, green flag's about to drop. Once again, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great talking to you and chat with you about, obviously, your racing and hearing about the experiences at UNOH and everything else. Thank you so much for coming on.
Most definitely, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alrighty, guys.
Well,
we'll keep in touch. Most definitely, Michael, let me know about your future races, and hopefully I can come out there and hang out with you guys.
Yeah, certainly, man.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, guys. Well, you enjoy your afternoon and enjoy watching the race.
Thanks. You too, man.
Hey, you too, man.
Alrighty. I'll catch you guys later.
All right.
Take care, Chris. Alrighty. Green flag at Atlanta. That'll do it for this edition of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hours. Kyle Busch chases his one last Xfinity win. Thank you guys so much for listening in. From Michael Klein and myself, Alex Gray, signing off, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.